In the last module, I said that everything in JavaScript is an object or one of the JavaScript primitives. And it's still true. Functions are objects. In fact, functions inherit from object. What makes functions special is that they can be invoked. Here we have a very basic function. You already know that we're looking at a function with the name square that accepts one parameter and returns that parameter multiplied by itself. Functions definitions always begin with the function keyword. There's an optional function name, 0 or more parameters to the function, the function body delimited by curly braces, and an optional return expression. There are a number of techniques for declaring functions in JavaScript. The one that we saw in the last slide I call the standard function declaration. Another option is to declare a function with a name and assign it to a variable. If you do this, the function can't be invoked by its name. It has to be invoked via the variable name. So in this case, you would have to call the square func variable. If you're declaring a function and assigning it to a variable, the function name can be omitted. The only reason that sometimes people still include the function name is because then it will appear in the call stack when debugging. The case that we're looking at now, if we were debugging a program that called this function, the function's anonymous, so there would be no name shown in the call stack. Another pattern that you will see quite a bit looking at JavaScript code is anonymous functions that are immediately invoked. So you begin with a standard function definition and then wrap the function in parentheses. That's just to group it together, and then immediately invoke the function immediately after it's declared. Now, because this function accepts one parameter, when it's invoked, one parameter is passed in. The benefits of doing this is that because the function is declared and immediately invoked and never assigned to a variable, it has no effect on the outer scope. So there's no namespace pollution occurring here. The other benefit is that it provides a technique for aliasing variable names. So you can see in this example that within the function the variable name is x, but outside of the function it's referred to as number2square. A good example of an anonymous and immediately invoked function is pretty much any jQuery plugin. They're generally implemented using this style for both of the reasons that I mentioned. That is, when you reference a jQuery plugin, you don't want that plugin to pollute the namespace that's being used by your program. So it's good if the plugin is self-contained and its variables aren't visible outside of that plugin, which is provided by this pattern. Also, within your application, you might be using the $sign variable for some purpose other than jQuery. So using this pattern allows us to alias jQuery to the $sign.